there.
Hello.
Hi, it's good to have you. We'd love to hear about your fail.
Lay it on us.
I used to work at a hospital.
Oh,
And
I like it.
you know, working at a hospital, there's plenty of shitty situations you can get in.
Code Brown.
So, yeah. So
My brother's a doctor.
I've been in a lot of. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, no, I've been in a lot of situations. So an enema is a medication that when you give a patient, it makes them a little bit explosive as far as their bowel movements go. And so I used to work as a CNA at a hospital, and we had to give a patient enema rectally. And so I had to hold the rectal tube as the enema was being pumped in to this patient. Now, pumped in. Pumped in. So when you put this medication in, it's not like a suppository. It's not a little pill that you just put in.
Okay.
It's a liter of water mixed in with the enema, with the medication.
I'm sorry, is this medicine from like 1600s?
Yeah,
like
right,
this doesn't feel like modern
We
medicine.
put some leeches up there.
A liter of water up your butt? Like, I'm sorry. That's a
few cuts
I didn't even.
We bleed it out.
Yeah, seriously, I didn't even know that was something that was possible. Okay. I didn't know that was something that you could ever do to a human.
Nor should be done. Look, there's a possible business idea. Someone can work on that. Like, let's just improve that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, right.
All right, so we're
Honestly.
there. All right.
Yeah. So my job as a CNA was to hold the rectal tube as the nurse pumped in a liter of water, which was mixed with the enema, into this patient. And so I'm watching her. She pulls the syringe out. It's like, I don't know how much is in the syringe, but they pump in each syringe one at a time, and you gradually get used to this view. Like, you're constantly in this environment, so you're getting used to, staring at the back end of somebody.
I don't know, but I'm going to
become numb to it. Okay, you become desensitized to it, and like it becomes sort of like a normal part of like your daily life.
Got it.
And that's kind of weird to say, but so you're pumping in this liter of water, and you just keep pumping it and pumping it. And I'm just like, where is this stuff going? Like, where is it going? Like, how far
Aren't you
does
fully
it go?
At some point, you're just like, it's honestly, like, sometimes I'm feeding, I have a newborn baby, and sometimes we're feeding him milk, and I'm just like, your stomach's not that big. Where is this actually ending up? And then at that point, of course, it ends up back on me.
All over, yeah.
Yeah, so before we went into this, the nurse had given me kind of a heads up. They were like, hey, like just a quick like preface. Number one, never stand directly behind the tube.
Good tip.
And number two, if the patient tells you that they're going to sneeze, make sure you get out of the way.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay, perfect. Yep. So it's a good thing. I took those
happens to me with
those disclaimers. Yeah, same. Honestly, same. But so I'm holding this, and she pumps the entire liter of water into this guy's rectum.
She's like,
but you also have to hold it in there for a little while for the medication to get soaked in.
Okay.
So he's holding this medication, and I'm sitting there. I have to hold the tube in there. We have to plug it. And next thing you know, this guy goes, I think I'm going to sneeze. And she's like, no, can you hold it? Can you hold it? And he's like, no, I got to sneeze. I don't know if it's coming. It just happened one time. It was the one time that specific situation ever happened.
You're like, you just told me to watch out. You didn't tell me what the next steps were. Yeah, you didn't tell me what the steps were after the sneeze. Googling.
Yeah, seriously. And so, have you guys ever seen that gif where the guy's standing in the elevator in the shower and he sneezes and he like shits all over the wall?
Unfortunately, I think I have.
Of course you have. I have not seen that.
It's like on Reddit.
But I like the image in my head.
Yep.
I can picture it.
Yep.
All right, well, I never thought that I would ever be the person on the receiving end of that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, right? Never, it didn't go on me, but it looked like it was like a murder scene with how much shit flew all over the wall. Like, I can guarantee you, like, somebody who was walking outside the hospital and, like, maybe looking up just, like, looked like bird watching or something, and they see the amount of shit that hit the window, would have been absolutely mortified and probably would have turned around and walked away.
That hospital is not safe. I am never going there.
1,500
they probably thought somebody got like blasted with a shotgun or something.
So what do you do after that?
Well, you tell them everything's going to be okay. You have to offer reassurance.
So you lie to them.
You lie, and then you clean it up. and you do like the grunt work of basically what a CNA does. So me and 2 other CNAs basically spent the next 3 hours in that room, wiping up cracks and crevices in the room and desanitizing, and we had to move the patient to a different room because, you know.
Did you find any like little charms or, like coins or anything of value?
Like a shiv, like a shiv, just like flies out of his out of his butt. No, we didn't find anything crazy. It was like a fire hose. It was insane.
Okay, I got a question for you. This happens. This goes down. Do you play it cool or do you freak out? Like when this goes down, how do you react in that moment?
I mean, I think it's the type of person that you are. Me personally, like when it happened, I don't know. I was just like, oh. Like it was like I think I was in such shock. I was just like, oh, that happened.
Did you go home and like shower and like ball up fetal position and quietly whimper?
Yeah, but were you like protecting him? Like were you like, I don't want him to feel bad that he just literally shit over the entire hospital room. So I'm gonna play it cool, like, oh, this sort of thing happens all the time.
Oh, bro, this is fucking disgusting. Holy God.
I think that's what I've done. I would have played it like, oh yeah, that little thing. Oh, don't worry about that. That happens all the time. Inside, you're like, I've never fucking seen that before.
I've been like, okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I feel like that's a normal thing in like the hospital industry. You just kind of learn to tell every single patient that whatever happened in the room is like it happens all the time.
I hate that.
It becomes like routine.
Yeah.
But back in the like, lunchroom, there's like posts of like, oh my God, this happened.
Exactly right. I remember when my wife was in the hospital giving birth, there was like a few little like cord around the neck or whatever, and they're like, oh, it's fine, like it's gonna. I'm like, yeah, like they're totally lying. Nothing is fine. I look up and there's like 5 people in like hazmat suits, and the whole room is just full of people. I'm like, there's nothing fine about this. Like my wife's like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, it's fine. There's like people like with their hands in the air, and like there's like power tools there, and I'm like, what does that go on? And what? And the whole time they're like, oh, it's fine. This is standard. I'm like, nope.
No, it is not.
Second kid came around. That was definitely not standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the time the doctor is like just bitching at me because I'm playing like rap music. And she's like, why are you playing that? I'm like, I want my kid to come out with some like music, man. She's like, what are you doing? Oh,
okay. So you said this meme and I was like, I don't think I've seen this GIF or whatever. And I just Googled it. I mean, I can't stop laughing about it. And by the way, there's a lot of
that's not the one I was thinking.
I know. This probably isn't the one, but we just need to post this so everybody can see this. Yep. This is what I'm imagining in my head now. What happened to you in this room?
I got my like 13-year-old jersey on and my humor on. It's like 13-year-old humor day. Yeah, that's terrible.
By the way, there's a shocking large number of shower shit gifts.
Yeah. No, I think that GIF describes exactly what happened to a T. And like maybe what happened to me was probably a little bit worse.
Did somebody call it code brand? Is that real? Like, did they call it over the speaker?
No, that is not a real thing. I think it's a pretty like hush hush. Like when somebody does something like that, you're kind of just like, all right, let's just get this cleaned up and let's go talk shit in the break room.
Let's tell nobody about this because I don't want them to know that I had to deal with this today.
I want to be the person announcing on the intercom, and I just describe it myself, like, boop. Yeah, room 472, shit all over the place. You guys know that shower gif where they spray? It's like worse than that. Boop. Like, that would be just totally like in detail describe things. That would be the most fun ever. Lasts like 2 hours.
Absolutely.
It sucks. I feel bad for my poor children because I share and they're 4 and 1 and they have like it's gonna last forever. Uh-huh. So someday, Hilo or Nash, if you're listening to this, I'm not sorry because it's funny. I will say I won't say which one it happened to, but one of them got clogged up. We're going overseas, and they were a baby, and we had to do the baby suppositories or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So it's like, I forget it's a really common fluid, but like you got to put it in there. The poor look on the face is like, like what? Like mom, dad, like what the heck? Yeah. And I'm reading and I'm like looking at my wife. I'm like, Stephanie, just be ready. I'm like, you know what? Switch me. I'll take the bottom part.
Man
right?
up.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And she's like, no. I'm like, no. Like I just, like, I got this. I've been YouTubing it and I've been all over. I know how to do it. And, the thing says on the box, like, insert it, push a little tube, give it like 10 seconds or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I don't trust that. I'm going to give it 0 seconds. I'm going to give it when I pull the thing out. It's, coming, right? Boy, we pulled it out and I put a diaper on really quickly. And I was like, okay. And she's like, I think it might take a little while. I'm like, I don't know. As soon as I pulled that diaper down, oh boy, happiest little baby in the world after that, though. But it was, I can't imagine. I mean, if that came out of like he was probably 10 pounds at the time. If that's what came out of him, like a grown ass man, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
You know what I wish we could do?
You feel my pain?
Is I wish we could get the guy who sneezed on this call. Just tell him from his point of view. Where he's like, I don't know, I never sneeze, but somehow that was the time I chose to sneeze.
He's like, funny story. I wasn't even sick or anything. I just decided to load up on Mexican food, and I really hated that CNA.
Oh my gosh.
I told him I was going to sneeze.
Okay, when you left the job or left this role, did you pass?
Day, he's like, I quit. I quit.
Did you pass this advice on the way it was given to you? Where you're like, oh, by the way, if they sneeze, watch out.
Yeah.
No, you did the wrong thing. You did the wrong thing. Nobody should ever communicate it beyond. You got to learn the hard way.
You're like, hey, no, dude, you're fine. If they sneeze, just shield the nurse. Yeah. Shield the nurse. That's your job.
If they sneeze, put your face down there and just give it a little poke.
Oh.
blow back in the tube. Keep it in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you have to have some other great hospital stories.
Don't think that the people in charge of that floor would be very happy with me admitting to this now, but I was their sitter, and I was like, hey man, like you seem like a cool dude. I've been sitting for you for the past couple of weeks. I'm gonna run to the bathroom really quick. I'm gonna order you lunch. It should be here in like 5 minutes. Just don't go anywhere, right? So of course he doesn't want to listen to me. He's not in the right state of mind. Keep in mind, my floor was the 9th floor. Like it was the highest floor in this tower.
Okay.
This guy, I went to the bathroom. I was probably gone for only like 5 minutes. 5 minutes. This guy somehow makes it down 9 flights of stairs. He left out the stairwell door, walked out the front door because he grabbed his like original clothes from his car accident. Walked out the front door, walked 9 blocks to his house, and walked into his living room and just sat there. We had to call security, had to call the cops. The guys came up to me and they were like, I walked in the room. I was like, where the fuck is he? I opened the bathroom door. I'm like, hey, like, hello, are you in here? Like, check the shower.
Spraying in the shower.
He's not in the shower. I'm like, where did this guy go? I'm like, and then we went back to the security cameras because we have a little security camera room, like by the break room. And we're like flipping through the footage. It's only like 15 minutes back, and all of a sudden we see him like he peeks his head out the door, looks left, looks right. There's no nurses or CNAs. It's like something you out of like ridiculousness, and he just bolts for the door. He's gone. He's gone.
Just drinking a beer.
So moral of the story: I lost the patient.
I have also snuck out of the hospital, and now I have to share this.
Have you?
I have. It did not. Well, I'll just tell. I'll just tell you the story real quick. So, I was on. It's called a one wheel. If anybody knows, it's the dumbest contraption ever. It's one wheel with a skateboard surrounding it, and you balance yourself on it. And I have a bit of an infatuation with like electric scooters, skateboards, like anything that goes fast, like that isn't expensive really. I'm like, yeah, I'll get down with that. So I was on my one wheel. For some reason, it's software update pops up on my phone and it's like, drive your one wheel 1 to 5 miles an hour while it updates. Right. And I'm like, this seems like a terrible idea. Okay. So I hit the update button. Right. So here I am balancing on this basically a unicycle for your feet. Right. Update it. I don't know if it was me, if it was like something on the road or whatever, but this thing, it's 75 pounds. It just nosedives, and it like just goes really fast and it just flips me over like a spatula, like the hardest you could ever slam a pancake into the ground. That is what happened to me. And I took a few steps and I was like, I'm not going to make it. So thinking I'm like, in my like teens or whatever, I do a somersault and I pop up and I'm like, look at that. Look at my clothes, no scuffs, no nothing. And then I'm like, oh, there's some blood and whatever. And there's like a college girl on her bike riding by. I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm like, I'm cool. She's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, oh. And so then all of a sudden blood starts showing up in places. And I go to walk back and I'm like, ooh, my foot's a little sore. And then I go to pick up the board and I literally can't pick up my hand is not functioning. Check it out. There's a scar right there.
Oh, nasty.
And then I go to get on the board because I'm like a little bit far away from home. And I hop on the board and my foot isn't working. But I know my wife is at home sleeping with 2 kids sleeping. She sent me to go get aspirin because one of our kids was sick. And I'm like, I just got to like tough it up right now. Ride the board all the way home, go straight into my car, drive to the emergency room, make sure I'm like halfway there, call my wife. I'm like, hey, don't be mad. And she's like, oh no. So I told her, I'm like, going to the emergency room. And I kind of explained it to her, which the funny part is she said something like, well, on your way back, can you like grab something? Right. Cause I think I'm so nonchalant about it, but I'm bleeding all over. My fingers are pointing in different directions. And I'm like using the left foot for the gas pedal, go to the hospital. I've been injured a lot. So I'm just like, morphine me up. Like I'll be fine or whatever. So get in there. Doctor, gives me morphine. I'm sitting there. All of a sudden, sirens start going off as like tornado warnings.
Oh my God.
Wife's calling me, where are you at? We're in a brand new apartment. She's like, I don't know where to go. It's just complete chaos, right? So here I am in the hospital room, like doped up off morphine, sitting there. My adrenaline's going like nuts. She now calls me. She's in the storm shelter of our apartment complex. There's all the dogs in the apartment complex. She's got a baby. My son is just bawling. And she's like, I'm calling her. And I'm like, I feel awful. And so I don't know what to do. And then it just kicks in. I'm like, I gotta be there. I just have to be there, right? So I start sneaking out. Nurse picks up on me because I'm kind of telling the nurse what's going on, right? And she's like, do not go. Like, you blah, 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 blah. You have medicine in you or whatever. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I at least have to go to the restroom. So I go to the restroom and then I'm walking back and I saw my shoes and like far away, but then I saw like the prescription pad, like with my stuff already on it. So I just lean over and I rip it off and I just walk out and I'm super nonchalant. I'm like, hey, thanks for everything. And the whole hospital was locked down because in like a tornado warning, they just like lock everything. And I'm just prying the doors open and I just like nonchalantly walk out. Start driving home. I actually asked some other guy, kind of bailed too. And I was like, dude, will you just like follow behind me in case like somebody's like watching or whatever? Get home. By then they're already back upstairs. Everything's fine. And I explained it to her and I was like, yeah, so they're probably going to call. And she's like, what? They're not going to call. I was like, no. I was like, I for real snuck out. And she goes, no, you didn't. Right when we were talking about that, phone call. I'm like, don't answer it. Don't answer anything. We just totally ignored it. And then I actually got my buddy the next day. I was like, hey, man, my shoes.
Can you get my shoes?
Can you get my shoes? He got my shoes. And it was fine. So, yeah. Never heard about it again.
You were probably my patient. You were probably the one I left.
Snuck down 9 flights, went home, had a beer, took a shower. So yeah.
So when you're
I'm probably on a hit list for a hospital. Like, do not serve.
Is there
do not let this guy back in. He sneaks out too easily.
Yeah, it's like
that's
part
awesome.
of your.
That's
should have grabbed the whole prescription pad. What was I thinking?
Yeah, you can. So when you're a sitter, because that's kind of a new term for me to hear. Like
what was
the
that?
Hospital. Like so, like your responsibility is that one patient. I assume like you have to.
Yeah. So like there's a couple of different roles. Like when you're like on those like lower kind of I don't know what the right term for that is, but like when you're in the CNA. Care tech, like a CNA and a care tech are like basically like the nurse's aides, so the people who help the nurses. And then the sitter is like a different name for like just like a babysitter for a patient who like isn't there.
Needs it.
And so like they can be called a couple different things. They can be called like companions or care companions or sitters, whatever it is.
So you got one
that's
job.
what I was doing for that specific
You got
day.
one job.
Yeah. So you have one job. You have one job to make sure that they don't leave and to make sure they don't hurt themselves. And I fucked that up. So.
Yeah, that's like a field goal kicker missing like a chip shot, like a 20-yard chip shot, man. You have one job.
And the rest of the team just looks at you like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like,
dude, you had one thing.
That's all you do, all practice. That's all you do.
I didn't know what to say. Like I was
right.
like, yep, I lost him.
I was hungry.
I didn't get fired.
Fucked up. Yeah. So are you still in this world now, or have you? Is this?
I am not. I'm not. No. I moved off. I'm done with the medical field. It was just one of those things that it just wasn't made for me.
Yeah. So. I could see why. Oh, this is a fantastic story. Wade is a good way for us to kick it off.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate your call today.
Absolutely.
All right, have a good one.
Absolutely. Take it easy, guys.
Later.
Bye.